What's up, guys? Welcome to your 28th Android tutorial for the new Boston. Again, we're going to be working with this text play class, or this text play activity that we set up. We're just going to set up our actual button. We've set up and pretty much finished our toggle button, but now we want to set up our check command button. So again, just go down below this line of where we closed off our setting up our onClick listener for a toggle button. Should be 2 brackets below. We're still within the onCreate method, and we're just going to quickly set up our button called check command. So we're going to type out the variable name, check command, or chk cmd, and then hit dot set onClick listener. You guys should be getting pretty familiar with this. We're just going to finish off the statement so we don't forget later, and then we're going to hit new view dot onClick listener, enter, and it'll set it up for us. Now what we're going to do within here is basically we're going to see what text is in our edit view, and it's going to compare it to some commands that we're going to set up. So what we're going to do first is set up a new string variable, and we're going to call this check. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull from the edit text called input that we set up. So we're going to say input, and we're going to say dot, and we're going to say get text. It's a method that we can use that's editable from the edit text class, and this is just going to give us what text is within that edit text. And then what we're going to do is set it to a string, or convert it into a string variable. So we just hit dot and use the method toString. And you guys can always read over here to get a little more information if you guys want. But there we go. Now every time we click this check command button, it's going to change this check variable that we just set up to whatever is in our edit box. And again, here's our edit text. It's going to get the text from the box for the most part and then convert it to a string. So those are some methods you guys might want to use for your edit text when you're working with those. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say if, and then you guys are kind of familiar with the if statement, hopefully. We're going to say if check, and we're basically going to compare it to a text that we want, or a command for the most part. So we're going to use a method. I mean, you'd expect, say, you might think of something like this: if our edit box for the most part equals Travis, we can do something, but you can't compare two strings like that, because again, this is a string for the most part, and this is a string. You can't compare them with the equal sign, which is pretty lame. But we have to use a method, so we're going to say if dot, and it says content equals, and it's going to compare it to a character sequence. So basically that means it's going to be case sensitive for the most part, and it's a boolean, so it's going to be true or false. So if our check, or whatever is in our edit box, equals whatever string we set up here, so we're going to say something like left. If I can type left, and then we're going to set up a pair of brackets right here. And so now if our edit box, if someone typed in left all lowercase, and hit enter, or hit the button called check command, it's going to set up this variable, pull the text from it, turn it into a string, and then basically so our check would equal left right now for the most part, and then it's going to compare it to this command left that we set up. So if our string equals left, and it's going to basically do whatever is within this statement. And then we're going to say else, just like we did before, but now we can say if. So it's basically going to check through this statement as well, and we can just kind of copy and paste basically our what we're checking here. And we're going to say if it equals center, and you guys can put another bracket here, and then we can also say else if, and then copy and paste, and this time we're going to say right. So there we go. I know we're getting a lot of brackets, so hopefully you guys are following along perfectly and you aren't getting errors or anything. But and that's also why we closed off that statement early, because looking through all these brackets, you're like, dang it, where am I supposed to close that off? For the most part, I mean, I don't know if that's confusing or not, but hopefully you guys follow along, and then we're going to set up what these are going to do within the next tutorial, as well as set up some more commands and just have some fun with this text. But that's just kind of the introduction to the else-if statements. We did the if-else the last tutorial for the most part, or 2 tutorials ago, I'm not for sure. But this is the if-else, and we also converted a edit text into a string. So that's what we've done, and then we compare basically 2 strings together by using this method content equals, and then whatever we want to compare it to. So hopefully that made some sense, and hopefully you guys are getting familiar with how to set up these buttons so you can tell your friends, hey man, if you have a button you need set up, I'm your man. But besides that, thanks again for watching. We'll hope to see you in the next tutorial. Have a good one.